Thank you very much. Um, Before I start, I will also thank a lot for the team that prepared and all this organization. And I will also start by introducing my organization in a very small words. And then later I can actually go details to what I am here. I will be talking about the key constraints. There are a lot of key constraints, but here the key constraint. And later I will also check how we mitigate. Our organization is a small-scale farmer organization in Arusha. It's a network of a farm organization in Arusha, but affiliated with a national farm organization that is Shiwakuta. And our thematic area are also making sure that the farm organization, organizational development are strengthened. But our key also objective is to make sure agroecology is actually adapted by the farmers. And there are also other activities like lobbying and advocacy for all farmers' issues are also addressed, as well as other developmental activities, making sure that the farmers are accessing different kinds of production skills and knowledge, financial services, and also marketing. Coming back to the agrobiodiversity, we as a farm organization and farmers themselves, they are thinking of how really agrobiodiversities have a key constraints. So we have several keys, but then because my colleagues, they already defined agrobiodiversity, I don't really have to really repeat, so I can say. So I think there is Okay, thank you very much. Back to you. So, because the definition we are already done, I will go straight away to the list of the key. There are a lot of constraints, but the selected ones are the key. A lot of farmers and maybe development organizations are really pushing to monoculture. This is also giving a sign that there are a reduction of biodiversity. Another one is loss of traditional crops, and this is actually leading to diminishing of the genetic diversity and within the crop, while it's actually making more susceptible to threats. There are changes of land uses, and in some cases you can see people are changing land uses from the farming maybe to other land uses, and this is really losing or leading to loss of habitats and also affecting the plant. And another key is invasive species. For example, in Tanzania now we have Parthenia. It's really taking part of the farming area, where it spreads diseases and sometimes strengthening biodiversity. And another one is climate change. Everybody knows the climate change is really taking up and leading to the changes of ecosystem, and this is really affecting the agrobiodiversity. And we have issues with lack of awareness and education. This is not only for the farmers, but also for the even political makers, the decision makers, consumers as well, where they don't really know the importance of agrobiodiversity, and this is actually taking us to inadequate conservation techniques or efforts. So the last one, but not really the least, is about the policy. There are a lot, like my colleagues explained on there are policies that really affect, support, and some of them they are not really supporting. But then you can actually take at the angle of subsidies or regulations, trades. You can see if they are not really taken care, they can actually lead to encourage the practices that affect biodiversity. So how all this can be mitigated or conserved? In agrobiodiversity, we can maybe take in a very bigger picture, don't cut trees, maybe don't have, reduce hunting. And then we can also go effective utilization of natural resources. And protected area should be really protected in a way that the human activities are not really affecting biodiversity. But awareness also, giving awareness. So we are doing this as a farm organization in a different way, in a very innovative way, in a way that farmers are also engaged while working in these activities. So there are several activities I can mention. One of the activities, awareness, I will talk later. And then maybe tree planting in different areas, natural regeneration and water conservation technologies, and these are actually done innovatively. And then making sure that the socio-economic capacities are also included, promoting the farmer managed seed system, other people they call local seed or traditional seeds, and also doing advocacy as well as using or sourcing different sources of energy. So starting with community awareness, and here we do a lot of activity in community sensitization, where we address issues on conservation and agroecology. Big mobilization in the villages and the yourself. But then individual forest and farm producers are also trained, and they can actually accept and take some of the things. But then, for example, in the schools, in the hospitals, where we can really induce the biodiversity conservation, we do promotion and we coaching and training. So for tree planting, we are checking in different areas, supporting nurseries, but also supporting farmers on agroecology, where they have really to do that as they have a basis and knowledge on agroforestry. So afforestation, we normally have different forestry, the community forest, and also the forests that are already degraded, and we have also to promote reforestation. There are different technologies and techniques that we can use in restoration. But then we have main key three technology. One is we take it as a Kisiki High, but it's a living stand where we take the living stand, we manage it, we protect it and monitor. And after times it's actually regenerated easily, and this is one of the fastest way of regrowing. The second technology is half-moon band. We do this in a land ranch where farmers, in our community we have masa where they have to get somewhere to feed their animals, the rangelands. So we dig the half-moon bands for water, soil reduction, keeping soil with water and nutrients, and put some of seeds, and then later we can actually get. And in the farms we do the terraces, and we call it Fanachini. The terraces are helping also to make sure that the soil are controlled. We harvest water, and we also uphold the soil nutrients, and sometimes we can actually get. So this is one of an example of half-moon bands. After taking this water, we can see later the place will be regenerated. So with the farmer seed banks, we are also promoting these to make sure that the biodiversity is there. We organize normally the farmer managed seed system exhibitions, and this helps farmers also to understand what are the types of the seed they have. And sensitization and mobilization of the farmers in their areas to make sure that we have conserved the seeds. and also we have organized in different farmers' locations the farmers' bank, the farmers' seed banks. But now we are doing the farmers' centers, the bigger centers to have the seed banks. So this is actually, we'll be collecting from the formal farmers. So dealing with all this, we have been keeping as another alternative way of income for the farmers, especially for the livestock keepers. And this is to make sure that, okay, they really understand, okay, keeping bees, we are also thinking of biodiversity. Bees are the pollinators. They can actually do a lot of biodiversity activities. So we train them. After training, we build capacity on ecological needs, and also after production, we have to process and make sure that they get market, and they get amount of money that they cannot really depend on the natural resources. So we are also thinking of alternative energy. They are living in the areas where they also depend on firewood. Now, because they have livestock, they can also use alternative energy. And one of the alternative energy is biogas. So we demonstrate, but then mobilize, and we give why it is really important to have this biogas. And it can also, we have also to give a list of benefits. Sometimes farmers now are adopting because they are also, reducing a lot of work from the women, and they are also reducing the time to search firewood, and at the same time they are they're saving times for cooking. So in this case, we also go to the advocacy. We are advocating for the farmer benefit system. We have really to go and move to the parliamentaries and to the minister. For example, here we were meeting to the agricultural minister, and we have also organized a meeting with agricultural agricultural permanent committee, discussing how the policies can really favor biodiversity and lobby for the research of biodiversity. So in this case, we are also supporting farmers also to get some finances. Farmers, they need also to get finances for their activities, and this should be also supporting the biodiversity activities. One of the activity, we mobilize, build capacity, and then we organize group in the groups or in the circles, and later we use the micro services to improve and establish the nurseries that are also supporting as a source of the trees to the farmers. So in this way, we are thinking that will impact. For example, after supporting the tree growers, we after mobilizing and giving awareness to the community, for sure, we will increase the restoration for the land. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Damian. In fact, taking example of your experience with the farmers producer organization, you call it forest and farm producer organizations that we've been talking about in that this morning, popularly called farmer producer organization. So with the experiences working with the farmers producer organization, you have highlighted some of the challenges they've been facing. And I find similar kind of challenges we've been facing here by such organizations. And you also provided some good practices you've been implementing there through this app use. And I find most of the good practices I've been also implementing here in Nepal, but I particularly like some of them, like half bonds you mentioned about, and the living stamps. I think by different name, we have what we call the recharge pit and pole. We implement that here as well, but this is a new name to me. And very importantly, you talked about the beekeeping as a everyday restoration or everyday supporting interventions. Last week I was in India and visiting one of the pioneer in agroecology and organic agriculture in southern India, Keystone Foundation. Just to give you an idea that how they have been operating. They started with the beekeeping early 1990s, and then they have been expanding their business up to export market too. So that was an entry point for biodiversity conservation, but now they have diversified their business and even they have access to international market too. I could relate your experiences to that as well. And then finally, we've been also facing the similar problem when it comes to raising awareness and sensitize policymakers and in general public. So African countries and Nepal share many similar situations. So we've been also facing the same kind of situation here when it comes to policy advocacy. So we are at the end of presentation. I would like to thank all the presenters for their wonderful presentation. Although we are lagging a bit behind our schedule, but we have to go for Q&A session. So with your permission, I would like to request you all present here in this hall just to limit to maximum of 3 questions, and then we will take questions from our virtual audience. So time, I think 10 minutes max for both the questions and feedbacks. So just try and don't give in detail, but try and be very brief, and then also try and whom to ask the question or whom your question is attributed to. It's already okay. Please, your who you are. Please just name. Give us your name. That's
okay. Thank you, Sarji. I'm Ghanashyam Pandey. I'm a chairperson for the Green Foundation Nepal, and also I'm the board member, advisory board member for the UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration. So I think I would like to thank all the panelists and your nice moderation linked with the given topics. So hearing from all panelists, but I would like to go to directly Duncan. That you have highlighted that the present governance system has a lot of obstacles on the agro-biodiversity development. There are so many corporate land grabbing, corporate agriculture systems, and many government, both national as well as the international big giant organizations like World Bank and many other finance companies. They are also promoting such kind of the initiative in the name of food security. So, Duncan, would you like to give some alternative solution? How do we bring the finance and investment and support to the local and indigenous groups to protect and to play key role in the alternative governance system, to build the alternative governance system? Will it be possible through the building the alliances together and make some kind of the alternative solution? I think if you give some ideas that how to bring alternative to the both the global as well as the national governance system. Thank you.
I think better to address. What do you think? Yeah. Please. And try and be brief.
Thank you very much, Ghansham. And it's a big question. I guess my first thought is that we need to regard agrobiodiversity as a public good. It's serving the nation and therefore should receive preferential treatment in taxes and subsidies. And that would obviously mean having some way of recognizing what is and what isn't agrobiodiverse, which might mean sort of systems like participatory guarantee systems that aren't very costly, but can distinguish the products coming from a particular community using a particularly agrobiodiverse or agroecological approach. Geographical indications, things like that, that give advantage to smallholder origins rather than industrial corporate production. And finally, just strengthening the organizations, the producer organizations, having policies and government support to strengthen the ways in which producers can work together and aggregate products and therefore reduce the costs and become more competitive. But yeah, that's probably enough.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we'll take two more questions together and then we'll come back to the speakers. Yeah, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kamal Aryal, representing International Center for Integrated Mountain Development, ICIMO. Actually, I mean, this session is very interesting. It is all about agrobiodiversity. But this is not the questions to the panelists, but being, you know, students of agrobiodiversity also, and everyone is talking about the agrobiodiversity, but we focus more on agricultural crop diversity. So, I mean, maybe we need to focus more on other component of the agrobiodiversity also. That is where we feel, I mean, the study is lacking and even the research is very limited on other component of agrobiodiversity. So this is just for the all the audience, because all organizations working on agrobiodiversity, that is why this is the key. Next step, maybe we need to focus on that aspect. And the wild and non-cultivated, you know, the edible, contributing significantly in the food security, nutritional security, cultural security, which is still, I mean, not given as a priority area. So this is what, this is not the questions, okay, but we need to focus on.
Thank you. There is one last. Now we'll go to virtual participants. Okay. Is there anyone for last? Okay. Yeah, you are the last. Yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Vincent Ziba from Zambia. I work for the Forest and Farm Facility Program. I have a question to Dr. Balakrishna from the National Gene Bank of Nepal. You expressed very good examples in the policies that support agrobiodiversity in the country, and you ended up in your presentation with a recommendation for registration of the local seeds that local communities, indigenous people, who are the custodians of the biodiversity seed systems that you have. I wanted to know from the policy point of view whether you have some deliberate efforts to commercialize the indigenous seed system so that it can motivate the local indigenous people in the conservation of that seed system as they try to register with the national gene bank system. Because we know they are threatened by the monoculture, the seed systems which fetch high value on the market. Are there any policy efforts to promote commercialization of the indigenous seed system as they register with the National Gene Bank? Thank you.
Dr. Joshi, I don't think you need to address the first one, because that was a kind of what Dr. Kamal said. So just stick to, okay.
Thank you. that's the good questions. And major our target is how we can make the native genetic resources competent, not only in the national level but at global level. With this statement, we work a lot along with different organizations, including LIBOR and other government organizations, and we work on farms, and we develop the genetic performance. We enhance the genetic performance of some native land masses, and now these land masses are in a good market conditions. They integrated in the pharmaceutical systems, and now they have a good reputation as well. And some of these land masses are eligible technically for getting the geographical indication right. And after entering in the gene banks, any land masses, we provide what we call passport to the relevant donor, that means farmers. And the farmers can have access to all genetic resources in Nepal. We regularly repatriate these genetic resources. We identify the elite lines, and we call the diversity kit that include elite lines, develop, improve variety, as well as localized genetic resources. So in totality, our mission, without marketing or without providing the provisions of marketing, the land masses is very difficult to control. In the same scenario, we work with the farmers, and some farmers across the Nepal, they are very happy. And from next year, we are planning to provide the GI tag that can multiply the market, not only in Nepal but in the country. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. So we are running out of time, so please.
So the question from Zoom session, Mr. Thanhar Bhandari, an assistant professor of Institute of Agriculture and Animal Science, Tribhuvan University, Nepal, has a question directing to Dr. Balkrishna Joshi. He puts a query regarding the International Union for Protection of New Variety of Plant. As Nepal is not a member of the UPOV, researchers and development experts in Nepal are facing problem to introduce valuable genetic resources required for investigation, crossbreeding, and future storage. So, what are the steps for becoming the member of UPOV?
This is very difficult questions, and from last few years we are having very discussions whether this is right or not to be a member of this organization. But if you talk with the farmers, and they probably not happy, and your concerns whether we will get the genetic resources or not. But our understanding, we have many genetic level that we have many diversity at genetic level. We could not exploit all these genetic resources. For your information, the old community, they have taken away around 25,000 of Nepalese genetic resources. I just dig out one land masses that called Jumli Marsi. These land masses have been used by 76 countries. We are proud of that, the land masses that contributed globally. So, limitation of genetic resources, this statement I am not completely agree. And there is we know there is a global gene pool, we call global gene pool for multilateral systems. Millions of genetic resources are there. So far, any Nepalese peoples have not got any genetic resources directly from the MLS. Why we are talking only the UPO? There is already the global gene pool. Lot of genetic resources are there. We have national gene pool. Lot of genetic resources we have, not only crops. That includes all 6 components and 4 sub-components. We did not getting many respondents or many users directly from the Nepal to Nepalese gene bank. So we have a lot of genetic resources available from national level and global level. We need big discussions whether we have to go to UPOV or not. There is a major issue, and many even indigenous people, I think Kamal Rai can also add some additional point. There are many issues. First, we have, because our capacity is also not so advanced. Kamal talked about gene editing and other different kinds of sequencing, but our technical almost at ground level. So before being the UPO, we better discuss at the grassroots level and what are the gaps and what other country has got the benefit of being the member of this. Yeah. Thank you. I think overall we need good discussions to decide on that. Regarding the genetic resource, so far for the Nepalese researcher, student and community, we have enough genetic resources in at global level and national level.
Okay, that's only one. Okay, we are lagging much behind in our original schedule. I won't dare to summarize this entire session, but I would like to thank all the presenters. We started with the importance of biodiversity for the indigenous people. They are the custodian of indigenous people, so their rights should be protected and should be addressed in various manners. Then we move to the some of our trajectory and good practices along the way when it comes to biodiversity conservation and sustainable use, global practices and learnings and good practices that have emerged over the time. And then we move to another very important presentation. She highlighted the trajectory of evolution and trajectory of biodiversity, and she also highlighted some of the issues and the good practices as well. Then we move to Nepal situation. Dr. Joshi provided us the policy landscape and then good practices. Then finally we heard from Duncan? Yeah. So, and then with the experiences working with the FUOs, he highlighted the challenges faced by such organizations and some of the policy suggestions he provided. Though, on the whole, it was a very composed and very comprehensive session. I hope the objective that we expressed and shared with you in the beginning of the session, this particular session has been able to set the stage for the rest of the proceedings onwards for the next 3 or 4 days. And also I'd like to thank all the participants who raised the questions and also online participant, virtual participant. So I would like to thank you all and big round of applause for speakers and you all. Thank you very much. Now I would like to request our moderator for the conference. Thank you also for Stephen helping me in running this session with keeping time. Yeah, please, floor is yours now. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Krishna, and to all the speakers for such a relevant session. Like Dr. Krishna said, we are running short of time. We lost some time in the morning during the tea break, and for that reason we've had to pay the price of that, and a little delays here because of tech issues. So we hope the afternoon is going to be really okay. I know that lunch has been prepared, so I'll not speak about that, and maybe our organizers can tell us, but I would ask us to make a little bit of a sacrifice so that we don't delay in the evening. There is some very beautiful things to see on the fair, so I was hoping that perhaps we could sacrifice an extra 15 minutes of our lunch break, and that's a request, so that we don't sleep here in these things, and there are really exciting things coming. Reminds me that sometimes we rush. They say it's rush hour, then I wonder what is the rush hour, and things are on a grind dog. But I'm hoping that we can eat a little bit quickly and then get seated. So I would like us, we were supposed to come back at 2, but obviously that's not enough time, so I'll let the organizers tell us what time we should come. Perfect. So I've gotten information that we should be back here at 2:30, and I request you to be prompt so that we can have the second session running, which is quite exciting. Bon appetit.